The void between the stars is vast, indifferent, and unforgiving. For centuries, humanity listened to its cold silence, watching distant flickers of light, wondering if anyone was out there, or if anyone ever would be. Then, one day, everything changed. It was not a whisper or a broadcast of empty words. It was a message etched across the cosmos, blazing bright enough to be seen from the farthest reaches of the galaxy. Humanity had sent a signal, written in ion fire. The first flash tore through the darkness like a comet born of purpose. From the shattered remnants of Earth's battered space station, the Aetheris, a stream of ionized plasma erupted, a deliberate coded wave pulsing through the interstellar medium. This was no ordinary transmission. It was a declaration, a challenge, a promise. For decades, the Galactic Concord had ignored Earth, dismissed its scientists as dreamers, its explorers as wanderers. But humanity, forged in the crucible of survival and betrayal, refused to be silenced. Dr. Mira Kessler stood on the observation deck of the Aetheris, her breath shallow as she watched the ion pulse ignite the sensors. The hum of the station vibrated beneath her feet, a quiet symphony of hope and defiance. "Do you realize what we've just done?" she whispered to her assistant. "This message, it's not just for them, it's for us. It's proof that we dare to reach beyond." The ion fire signal rippled through space at near light speed, illuminating dark corners of the galaxy that had never seen such brilliance. It carried humanity's language, their culture, their spirit, encoded in a cosmic beacon that would burn long after they were gone. But the stars are not always kind to those who shout into the void. Unknown to Earth, eyes had already turned toward their message, curious, alarmed, threatened. The ion fire was more than a call. It was a spark, and sparks can ignite stars, or wars. The ion fire signal tore through the void like a blazing comet, a ripple of raw energy and encoded hope streaking across the cold gulf between stars. It was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen, a pulse of shimmering plasma waves, carrying human language, mathematics, music, even art, woven into beams of pure ionized brilliance. It was a message not just sent, but felt. Deep within the listening arrays of the Kylari star nexus, the alert systems blared, piercing the usual hum of routine transmissions. Captain Rian Saul bent over her console, eyes wide with disbelief as the data streamed in. The signal wasn't random static or natural cosmic phenomena. It was a deliberate, intelligent transmission, the first known from Earth in over a century. "Can you believe it, Vorex?" she asked, turning to her alien second-in-command. "Humanity? They're alive, and they're telling us something." Vorex's multifaceted eyes shimmered with complex emotion, curiosity, caution, and something akin to excitement. "The signal is encoded in ion fire, a method of transmission previously thought impossible for a single world. They are announcing their presence on a scale we never imagined." The Kylari Council was quick to convene. For millennia, Earth had been a forgotten backwater, a loose end left dangling at the edge of known space. Many species had dismissed humans as insignificant, scatterlings on a small blue planet too consumed by internal struggles to ever truly reach out. But this message changed everything. Meanwhile, aboard the Aetheris, Dr. Mira Kessler and her team laboured to monitor the dispersal of the ion fire signal. The station was located at the Lagrange point between Earth and Mars, a fragile outpost of human resilience and ambition. The message was their last and greatest hope for recognition beyond the solar system, sent after decades of political isolation and technological embargoes imposed by galactic powers wary of humanity's growing independence. Mira's voice cracked with the weight of history. "We've sent more than a signal. We've sent a symbol. They'll know we mean to be heard, and we're willing to fight to be acknowledged." Her assistant, Kale, nodded, eyes bright with fervour. "Do you think they'll respond?" Before Mira could answer, the station's long-range sensors detected something unexpected. A response. Not words or images, but a pattern. An ancient communication form from the Zelthari, a species believed extinct after the Council's wars. The Iron Fire's brilliance had caught attention far beyond humanity's hopes. Back on Kylari Prime, the Council debated heatedly. "The humans have broken the silence," said Elder Sreth, his voice grave. "For years we kept them in shadows, limited their reach. Now they scream into the galaxy with ion fire, a weapon of visibility. "We cannot ignore this," countered Diplomat Vinner. "They've shown ingenuity and courage. Perhaps it is time to reconsider our stance on Earth." "But if they have learned to wield ion fire, if they can marshal such energy, they are no longer weaklings," warned General Hark. "They threaten the balance we have maintained." The Council faced a crossroads: crush Earth before it grew too strong, or engage with a civilization that might become an ally, or an enemy unlike any before. In the depths of the Veilborn Enclave, shadowy figures watched the transmission's echoes flicker across their hidden monitors. The Veilborn were the galaxy's ghosts, rogue agents, mercenaries, and exiles who thrived in chaos. "The humans send their fire into the void," whispered Kareen, a Veilborn tactician. "It draws eyes and weapons alike. They are dangerous, not because of their ships or armies, but because they dare to be heard." Her cohort nodded in agreement. "We must watch closely. This ion fire is a challenge to the old order, and we will not let new empires rise unchecked." As the ion fire waves continued their journey through the stars, human scientists detected faint replies, patterns of light, sound, and mathematics, ancient galactic greetings in strange forms. The galaxy was listening, and humanity's message had sparked something far greater than they imagined. Dr. Mira Kessler stood once more on the observation deck, gazing at the stars lit by ion fire. "This is just the beginning," she said softly. "The message we sent was written in fire, and fire changes everything." The ion fire message surged onward, a beacon of human ingenuity and hope blazing a path through the dark tapestry of space. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy was forced to reckon with humanity, not as forgotten ruins or archaic myths, but as a living, breathing force demanding to be seen. Captain Rian Saul stood in the command chamber of the Kylari Star Nexus flagship, the Aegis, watching the ongoing decoding efforts unfold. The initial shock of the ion fire signal had given way to feverish analysis. Complex patterns emerged from the flames, languages intertwined with mathematics, artistic sequences encoded as bursts of light, and surprisingly, the raw emotions of a species desperate to connect. "This is more than a message," Rian told her crew. "It's a declaration of existence, a challenge, and a hope, all wrapped in one." Her second-in-command, Vorex, nodded. "It also carries a warning. Embedded within the code are fragments of Earth's history, betrayal, survival, and a vow never to be ignored again." But not all shared the same perspective. Within the corridors of power on Kylari Prime, voices clamoured. Some saw opportunity, others threat. Back on Earth, the Aetheris hummed with energy. Dr. Mira Kessler and her team had been coordinating the transmission efforts for months, carefully crafting each new pulse of ion fire with greater complexity, weaving messages that told the story of humanity's trials and triumphs. They wanted to show the galaxy that humanity was not just a distant signal, but a culture of fierce resilience and boundless curiosity. Mira's assistant, Kale, worked tirelessly on the signal's encryption, ensuring it could adapt and evolve, so any recipient might engage in an ongoing cosmic conversation. "We've sent poetry in light," Mira mused, "mathematics in fire, music in plasma. We are offering more than data, we're offering ourselves." Suddenly an urgent alert blared. The Aetheris' sensors detected a fast-moving vessel entering the solar system's outer reaches. It wasn't one of Earth's own. The pulse of ion fire had not only been heard, it had drawn visitors. On the bridge of the alien ship, the crew moved with purpose. The vessel was sleek, dark, and unlike anything Earth's defences had ever encountered. Their origin was the elusive Zelthari, a species believed wiped out during ancient council wars, now thought extinct. Commander Thessa, their captain, stared at Earth's fragile blue sphere with an unreadable expression. The humans send a message in ion fire. It is bold, almost reckless, but it speaks of strength and hope. Her science officer replied, "Their signal carries cultural context, history, and a desire for recognition. This is no accidental flare, it is a call for dialogue." Thessa nodded. "We will meet them, not as conquerors, but as witnesses." Back at the Galactic Concord's remnants, the Council struggled to respond. The ion fire had torn through their control, forcing their factions into uncomfortable decisions. The Kylari, the Alarian, the Lokthar, all felt the ripple. Elder Sreth, his form etched in crystalline light, addressed the fractured assembly. "Earth's message challenges our authority. We must decide. Do we accept humanity as a rising power, or extinguish the spark before it becomes a flame? General Hark's voice was harsh. If we let them grow, they will destroy the fragile balance we maintain. The galaxy cannot afford another war. But voices of diplomacy rose, urging caution. Perhaps the humans are our chance for renewal, argued diplomat Vinner. They have survived where others faltered. Maybe they can unite what we could not. As the alien ship entered orbit, Earth's defense fleet scrambled, unprepared but determined. Admiral Elaine Vargas stood on the deck of the flagship UNS Sentinel, her gaze fixed on the visitor. Humanity's message had been heard, and now the galaxy's response would define the future. Prepare for contact, she ordered. This is our moment, not just to defend, but to reach out. We send a message in ion fire. Now we must hear the answer. The first communication between humanity and the Zelthari was cautious but profound. Through waves of ionized plasma and quantum encryption, stories were exchanged, of loss, hope, and the unyielding drive to be known. Mira Kessler watched the connection stabilize. We sent fire into the void, she said softly, and it came back as light. The galaxy was waking. The arrival of the Zelthari envoy transformed Earth's fragile hope into a roaring flame. Humanity's message, once a solitary pulse of ion fire blazing across the cold void, had become a beacon that pierced the galaxy's long shadows. It was a call for recognition, a daring statement that humanity would no longer be silent, no longer ignored. Admiral Elaine Vargas stood aboard the UNS Sentinel, the flagship of Earth's burgeoning fleet. The stars outside the observation window twinkled with the promise of new alliances and fresh dangers. The Zelthari ship, a sleek iridescent craft shimmering with bioluminescent patterns, hovered in geosynchronous orbit, silent but imposing. This is uncharted territory, Vargas said, her voice steady but tinged with awe. We are no longer just survivors, we are players on a galactic stage. The Zelthari emissary, Commander Thessa, stepped onto Earth's diplomatic station with a grace that belied the decades of presumed extinction her people had suffered. Her dark eyes held centuries of knowledge and pain, and a flicker of cautious hope. The ion fire message, Thessa said in perfect common, was a beacon of your resilience. We had thought your civilization lost or broken beneath the weight of the old order, but you burned brighter than we imagined. Mira Kessler, now head of Earth Communication and Cultural Exchange Division, stood beside Admiral Vargas. We sent our fire not just to be seen, but to say that we are here to join the conversation, to build, not destroy. Thessa nodded. Your message has stirred many. Some welcome your rise, others fear the change you represent. Indeed, the galaxy's reaction was immediate and fierce. The remnants of the Galactic Concord splintered further. The Lokthar warlord Lethrin, seeing Earth's growing influence, declared open rebellion, rallying a coalition of systems fearful of humanity's expansion. We will not let this new fire consume us, Lethrin proclaimed. His dreadnoughts massed near the neutral zone, ready to choke Earth's supply routes and starve their fledgling alliances. At the same time, the enigmatic Veilborn watched with calculated interest. The ion fire signal and its ripple effect were exactly the chaos they thrived on. In the shadows, they began infiltrating Nexus Alliance communication hubs, sowing discord and suspicion. A council of Veilborn elders agreed to send envoys to the Nexus, signalling a fragile willingness to negotiate peace. The final battle came not in a cataclysmic clash, but in a tense standoff near the disputed system of Kalara Prime. Lokthar warlords and Earth's fleets faced each other across the void, the galaxy holding its breath. Admiral Vargas stepped forward with a proposal, a ceasefire and a joint council to resolve disputes peacefully. It was a gamble, but one born of the understanding that continued war would destroy everyone. Warlord Lethrin, battered and weary, considered the offer. His voice, once thunderous with defiance, now held a note of reluctant respect. Perhaps the fire humanity has sent is a beacon, not just of war but of hope. We accept your proposal. The ceasefire held, and the Nexus Alliance expanded to include former enemies and new partners. The galaxy, once fractured and burning with old grudges, began to heal. Humanity's ion fire message had done more than announce their existence. It had challenged the stars to change, and change they did. Years later, as Mira Kessler looked up at the night sky from Earth's surface, she saw the faint glow of the ion fire pulses, still flowing between worlds, a living network of connection and understanding. We sent a message in iron fire, she whispered, and in return, we received a galaxy willing to listen, to learn, and to unite. The fire had become a light beyond the fire. Ion Fire, the message that changed the stars, ends here.